Here's what some people are saying about the Projection Booth podcast.
The Projection Booth is single-handedly the greatest film podcast you could ever listen to or could possibly want.
Top notch. 5 stars. This has quickly become one of my favorite film-related podcasts. Always interesting.
A completely unpretentious yet fully comprehensive look at films from all genres.
The Projection Booth podcast, with new episodes available every week at projectionboothpodcast.com.
You are listening to the In the Mouth of Dorkness podcast. Here are Brad and Darren.
Welcome to another edition of the ITMOD podcast. With me is Brad Gullickson, Mouth Dork.
Hello!
Yep, and also joining us is Billy Doss, the Indie Dork.
Hello!
And I'm your host, Darren Smith, the Disco Dork, and welcome to the ITMOD podcast, CHATcast. This episode, this episode's nuts.
Yes, this is a great one.
Yeah, joining us on the podcast all the way from Laos is Mattie Do, the filmmaker behind Dearest Sister, and how do you pronounce the first one? I don't want to... Chanthaly, yeah, and she has a very interesting story. We'll let her tell it, but she also has a very interesting energy as well, which you will soon hear. But this was a really fun and really crazy interview, mind you. She's in the future. She's in a different time zone. Like, she's in the future over there. And she's...
Yeah, we recorded this at 11 a.m. Eastern time, and she was recording it after midnight?
She's exactly 12 hours ahead
Exactly
of us.
12 hours,
So she stayed up late to talk with us.
Because this
and
is
let us
short,
sleep in,
not
actually.
a short interview.
No, it's not.
No. But she's very generous with her time. Again, but a very fun interview and very insightful.
Fuck yeah.
And
I barely talk.
She has an incredible story, though, and I'm excited for all of the listeners to hear. So, as always, thank you, Billy, for setting this up. Do check these films out, though. The Chanthaly, that's available on...
It's on her YouTube channel now. That was part of her Indiegogo for Dearest Sister. She threw the video up there. You can see it for free. It's with her blessing. It's on her channel. Search Mattie Do in YouTube, and you can find that.
And Dearest Sister, you can get on iTunes or through Amazon if you sign up for Shudder.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, so here it is, everyone. Grab a bottle of wine, take a seat, and check out our CHATcast with Mattie Do.
All right, you guys, welcome along to the ITMOD CHATcast. We are here today with Mattie Do, Lao Horror filmmaker, creator, director of Chanthaly and Dearest Sister. Welcome along to the podcast, Mattie.
Hi, you guys. I'm so happy to be here. I'm a huge fan of Film School Rejects.
I'm so excited to hear you say that you're a huge fan of that. That's really great. We're huge fans of what you're doing. It's fucking awesome. We think that you're the best. I love everything about what you guys are doing over there.
I'm a total Film School reject because I never went to film school, so of course, fuck yeah.
Nice. Here for team didn't go to film school. I didn't go to film school either, but also technically I'm not a filmmaker, so I feel like that kind of fits with my career path.
You're a reject.
Yeah, I'm just a reject.
That's all right. We like the reject.
So in that spirit, kind of the first thing that I wanted to maybe just kick the conversation off with is when I found out that we were going to have a chance to sit down and chat with you, I checked out your YouTube channel. And one of the videos that I saw on there was this really delightful short film that you did as an introduction to the Brooklyn Horror Film Fest.
My God!
Yeah, I was letting these play in the background to just kind of get a vibe of like, who are you?
Just drew out of my mind.
That's awesome. What was the choice? Why did you make that? How did that come about? The short video for that. I thought that was just fucking brilliant.
To be honest, I wanted to go to Brooklyn Horror Film Fest so bad, because I am American by nationality. I'm Lao and Vietnamese ethnicity. And my passport is American because I come from a refugee family. Mm-hmm. In 1975, the Vietnam War happened. And my parents fled Laos because of the political climate. And they were stuck in a refugee camp for 3 years. And that's where my older brother was born. And they were just looking for a place to go. and they ended up in America. And this is kind of relevant to what's happening now in our current political climate, you know. And they reached America, and we were in California with some other family that probably sponsored us there. Mm-hmm. And I was born. And so I fucking love California. And when I heard that my film was accepted to Brooklyn, I was so excited because I was just like, oh my God, I can go back to the States. I can eat Cheetos and have nachos with jalapenos again. I'm so excited. And this is one of the things I love most about Fantastic Fest is because they completely dope me up on junk food. I reach Fantastic Fest. I get off and Fantastic Fest is like, tortilla chips and queso, Mattie? And I was like, yes, sir. You know? And I was accepted to CHATcast, and it was simultaneous. And Matthew and I think it was Matthew, right? The director of Brooklyn Horror and his partner were like, Justin, they said, can you make us a little video for to introduce your film? And I sat there and I was just like, I hate those douchey videos where it's like a talking head like this. You can see my video, right? It was like, right. Hi, everyone. I'm so glad you're here to watch Dearest Sister. I hope you enjoy this film. It's a really important Lao film. I'm just like, fuck that shit. I'm like, we work in genre film. We can't take ourselves so seriously. And so I heard that I was going to an escape room with Landon and Anik, my producer, and my producers from Indiegogo, and I was like, let's make them a video. And so I made them this fucking Blair Witch video. It was awesome. It was so much fun. It was seriously on the fly. I edited it while I was on the train from Barcelona back to CHATcast. It was hilarious.
That's awesome.
You guys can watch it. Like, everybody, give them the...
No, when I put the piece up on Film School Rejects, I'm definitely going to link to it because holy shit, that was I didn't expect, because I'm going to use your words. It kind of starts out like a talking head, sort of like, hello, welcome along to talking about this Lao horror film, and I was letting it play in the background, and then it slowly, it morphs into this thing that is just amazing and hilarious and just a brilliant ending. So I fucking loved it. I thought it was awesome. That's really great. It actually kind of...
I'm glad that like my producer totally played along. Anik Manet, she's my French-Swiss producer, and she totally plays along. She's so fucking cool. And she's just like... She understands genre on a different level than even I do, because she's not just a producer, but she's worked for many years with... she worked with Celluloid Screams, and she's a sales agent. She works with Raven Banner Films, so she completely understands these different levels of genre, and so she completely played along with me. I loved it.
Well, actually, that's an interesting thing that I kind of like to get into. So, I mean, obviously, as people get familiar with Dearest Sister, they're going to learn about this movement that you're creating in Lao for Lao horror films, right? This is a thing that they'll become familiar with. One of the things that interests me about that is, like, how the fuck do you do that? Like, how, like, you're talking about learning from somebody that you're engaged with, that they have this deeper understanding of genre. Like, how much of what you kind of started out doing there from Chanthaly to Dearest Sister was about relationship building or growing a community? Is that something that happened?
Well, for me, I don't know anything about genre film. I don't know anything about films in general. In fact, one of the sad things I think about my background in film is I don't know a lot about film, and it's a big gap for me, because very often I find myself in interviews where people are asking me like, oh, your work seems so much influenced by so-and-so person that Maddie's never heard of. Like, I often find myself at a loss because I'm just like, who, what, or... I have no idea. I was a ballerina before I was ever a filmmaker, and I was a shitty ballerina. But I had devoted my entire life to learning about. I really was. You guys can like follow my Instagram and see how shitty I am at dancing. It's sad, but I had devoted my entire life to ballet, meaning I didn't watch TV. I rarely went to the movies. My film knowledge is from before I was in high school watching films with my dad, and my dad is an immigrant to America who speaks very little English, so he only watched super blockbuster films. Mm-hmm. He watched like Terminator and RoboCop and etc. I mean, my dad's favorite movie on earth is Transformers. You know, like these are the kinds of movies my father watched, and really, and those are the kinds of movies I grew up on. So people are asking me about Fellini and like fucking Argento.
Oh yeah,
Argento.
You've seen some Argento.
I saw Suspiria because it was a ballet film, and the whole time I was just like, dude, they really suck at the whole thing. Like, their ballet is much to be desired.
So then, what inspired you? Oh, sorry,
I'm laughing at that. I'm sorry, and so I felt really bad because I don't know anything about genre film, and when I met Annick, she was such a pro when it came to genre, and I'm only pulling off of the background that I know. And the background that I know is Asian superstitions and ballet, because ballet is super genre oriented.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's what I started off with. I love genre. I love ghost films. I love being scared. I love creepiness. And I think being scared translates into every culture and every language, whereas being in love does not. How an American loves someone, like fuck on first sight. That is not how we Asians do it. And how Indians might have like prearranged marriages, we don't do it like that. It doesn't translate. Comedy doesn't translate. Drama doesn't translate. But horror, always. Every culture can feel fear. And so for me, it was very natural for me to choose genre as an element to go with, because ballet and cultures can all understand fear.
So why pick up a camera in the first place? What inspired you to do that?
Oh, shit. That wasn't even my fault. That was my husband's fault. I had no desire to pick up for reals, you guys. I had no desire to pick up a camera. I had no idea how a camera functioned. It was just like completely an accident. This is a real film school reject story right here. My husband is a screenwriter, and I think many of you know that. He's been script doctor for many other European productions. He's done rewrites for American productions. And he's been prolific. He has been a professor at the National Film School in Italy. I had no desire to be in film. I had no clue that I'd ever be a part of the film world. So I moved to Italy to be with my husband, and he was working with the National Film School, and it was his dream. He's like, oh my God, I got a job at the National Film School. And I was like, all right, cool, whatever. I'll keep babysitting to survive. Literally, I was a nanny. I was an Italian nanny, you guys. I had two little spoiled Italian kids who I took care of to be able to make ends meet for us.
Holy
and
shit.
so he got his first paying job at the National Film School, Centro Sperimentale di Cinematografia, and which is a school that Fellini and everyone established, right?
De Sica
established, which is like fucking Italian classic. I had no clue who the fuck De Sica or Fellini were. And I started taking ballet classes there at IALS. It's a very famous open dance school there. And I started taking ballet school with Russian teachers, but I could not afford the classes, and I could not afford my shoes, because point shoes. A job opened up at the film school and at the film lot across the street from the film school, which was Cinecittà, which is basically Italian Hollywood, which I also didn't realize was Italian Hollywood. And they're like, we're looking for a makeup artist. And I was like, oh, fuck, I graduated from cosmetology school. I took 2 years of cosmetology school. I can do hair. I can do makeup. I don't like it, but I can do it. And so they hired me under the table to do makeup on student films and etc. So I could pay for my fucking point shoes and my tights and leotards.
Nice.
And no, for real. It's like, that's how sad it was. I had no interest in film. And as I'm doing makeup, it's like 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. on set. I'm doing makeup. Some of these kids realized that my husband was the one who wrote their scripts. And they'd ask me for insight about the scripts. Like, oh, your husband's a screenwriter, and the director is directing us. What do you think this character was thinking when he wrote this? And I just like answer them. It's like, well, I think this character feels this in this way, and maybe this emotion is coming through while I'm doing their makeup. I'm like powdering their nose and etc. and thinking like, fuck, it's really early. And I'm doing this, and at 2 p.m. I have to be in a studio taking ballet classes. You know? And that's how it started. But on set, people started to realize, oh, she's a really odd one here. It's Italy, you know. There's a lot of white people. There's a lot of like Southern Italian people. Are you Chinese? They'd be like, oh, you're Chinese. And I'd be like, no, I'm Lao. And they'd be like, what's Lao? I don't understand. What's Lao? And I'd be like, you know, it's a country between Thailand and Vietnam. It's a totally real place. And they're like, oh, have you ever seen a camera? This black machine here, it's called a camera.
Fuck.
And no shit, you guys. It was like that. It was like, oh, fucking cool. Tell me how it works. And that's how my film education started. To this day, on set, I have difficulty finding the right English words for some of the shots that I have to use. Like, I sometimes say the Italian words to my husband, who's become my AD, my assistant director, and he has to say them in English because I still don't know the English words for some things. Like, I'd say, I want un carrello to push in. And he said, you want a dolly to push in. I was like, yeah, whatever, un carrello. Because I only know the Italian words for it, you know? And that's how my film education started, was working as a makeup artist on Italian student film sets.
That's wild. Yeah.
It was an accident.
Yeah.
Dumb fucking luck.
But your Laos story is also.
Oh, my Lao story is even worse than that, you guys.
Oh, let's hear
How
it.
I became a director was even worse.
Let's hear it.
Oh my God, it's so bad. Like, it's ridiculous. We moved to Laos because my dad married a woman that was younger than me by surprise. Like, woo, you have a trophy mom. I'm like, oh my God, trophy mom, awesome. Like, yeah, for real. He's like, I found someone after my mother died. You know, I found someone. I was like, oh, cool. What's her name? Who is she? And he's like, oh, her name is Nook. She's 2 years younger than you. I'm like, what?
Holy shit.
Come on, I'm sitting here. You're right. I'm sitting in America thinking like 2 years younger than me. Oh shit, he's in a relationship with some gold digger, right? Like, logically you get scared. And he's like, you should come to Laos. You should come meet her. You should come see how Laos has changed. It's so different now. Come live with me. Come be with Dad. And I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to come be with you. Who the fuck is it? You know? And I went over to check out what the hell was happening with Trophy Mom and Dad. And I brought my dog. I brought my husband. We meant to only be there for like maybe a couple months to make sure everything was okay. And to be honest, they were fine. She was nice. She was okay. She was young, and their relationship is up and down, but it wasn't as bad as I thought. But then here we were in Laos, and my husband thought, hey, we should check out the film scene, see what it's like, and maybe I can help out because there doesn't seem to be much film here. I'm like, yeah, okay, whatever. And we found out there were like 2 or 3 Lao films, and we couldn't get a hold of the production company called Lao Art Media. They had made a film called Sabai Luang Prabang.
They'd made the only film.
They'd made the only Lao film, Sabai Luang Prabang 1 and 2. And we sent them emails, we sent them Facebook messages, and no response. Somehow we ended up running into some people that are like, oh, I'm going to some film party. You guys want to join us? You guys speak English. You must be friends. And we're like, yeah, okay. So we went there and met the producers and president and vice president of Lao Art Media. And they were drunk out of their minds. I'm not even joking. Anusan Sirisakta and Dongni Solipan were drunk out of their minds. And they were like, hey, Americans, you work in film? And I was like, he works in film. Like, he works in film. I'm a makeup artist. He's a screenwriter. And they're like, cool, you guys should come to our office. Let's talk. Let's go to our office. And I was like, yeah, okay, I'll go and translate for him. And the next, 2 days, they picked us up, literally, because we had no car. We were just visiting, you know. They picked us up and took us to their office, and they said to my husband, this is your office. And he was like, holy shit, this is my office? Like, what? They just gave him an office. And they're like, we need content because Lao film is dying. Lao film is like on its last legs. And he's like, yeah, I can give you content. I'm a screenwriter. I can totally do that. And they're like, woo! They opened beer Lao. No joke. They opened bottles of beer Lao. They're like, woo, content. This dude's going to write us content. And then they said, and we need directors because we're old and we don't want to direct anymore. And he was like, oh, no. Can you shut Poppy up? Sorry, you guys. My dog's a little overactive.
No worries.
It works.
And so they were like, we need a director because we're old and we don't want to direct anymore. And he's like, no. I don't speak Lao. I don't like actors. I don't direct. And they totally got this look on their face like, sad face. Aww. Like, these two guys, they're just like, oh, all of our hopes are riding on this like white dude to like make new content. And I think my husband panicked because he was like, shit, this office with the free coffee is going to like disappear. And he literally was like, she'll do it. She can direct for you. She totally has experience. I was the only she in the whole fucking room, you guys. I literally turned around, looked over my shoulder, and was like, what she is he talking about? Like, did some other woman walk into the room? What the fuck? I was the only woman in the room. And everybody was like, oh, yes, she'll direct. How fucking awesome. Oh my God, Laos never had a female filmmaker. That's so cool. And they opened a bottle of whiskey to celebrate. And I was like, oh my God. Here. And we have this whole social system in Laos where it's like, I can't really dispute them right away because then everyone will lose face. Like, they opened a bottle of whiskey. Everybody's happy. I can't be like, fuck you, Chris. Like, I'm not going to direct a film. I don't know anything about film. Everyone would lose face. So I was like, cheers. Cheers, yay. Film, cheers. You know? And we finished that bottle of Johnny Walker Black, and then we went home and had a drunken battle about like, what the fuck are you thinking? I can't direct a film. Oh my God, what are you thinking? I've never directed a film in my life. And he totally tossed his book at me that was like yay thick. That was called Directing. No fucking shit. It was Directing.
It was the first year of film school.
Yeah, and he had this book called Directing, and he said, "Read this. You'll be fine. You'll totally be fine. You've taught kids ballet. You can totally work with actors." And I read the book about my first film. No shit. I made my first film after I read that book.
That's awesome.
So my understanding is that the budget for Chanthaly was like, I don't know, $5,000 or something like that. And then
it wasn't 5,000. It was 4,500.
Okay, my bad.
I told everyone 5,000. It was polite. It was 5,000 because so Chanthaly started out. I went and got a beer sponsor, which if you've seen Chanthaly, mm-hmm. you know there's a lot of beer drinking in it, right?
Yeah. Well, and it features a Beer Lao like promo opening. There's like a Beer Lao credit shot at the start of that, I want to say.
Oh, all my films feature a beer opening because they're the ones who like sponsored the film and gave me the money to make it. So all my films very prominently feature my alcohol companies. Nice. The first one was Nam Kong beer. And what happened was we went to Nam Kong beer, which is like the more craft beer of Lao. And they were like, oh, yeah, Beer Lao has all the marketing. We'd like to do something. But we can only give you $5,000. And I'm like, yeah, okay, I'll try to do something with that. And so I filmed in my own house. I used my friends. I used my car. I used my dog. Mm-hmm. And we started filming, and there was no check. And Lao Art Media was feeding us. Like, literally, the president's wife was making us fried rice every day just to keep us, like, sustained. And we were using their lights. We were using my camera, which was, like, a little Canon Rebel T2i.
Oh, shit.
And at one point, we're like, we're going to starve. Like, we need money. Yeah. Like, we haven't gotten the $5,000 from them yet. So I had to go to them and say, dude, you guys, we need the money that you guys promised us. And they're like, yeah, about that. We meant $4,500 in hard cash and $500 in beer. And so they gave me a check. They gave me a check for $4,500. And as you've seen in the film, there's like beer pitchers, beer towers, kegs, and like bottles everywhere. Because the rest we had to drink. The rest of the cash we had to fucking drink. And we did it. Like, we totally did it. We used it. And
and we did it for the next 2 years.
Yeah, for the next 2 years, that's all we did was we drink. Now I'm going here.
Well, so
because it was 500 bottles.
was a lot.
Holy shit.
It was like 50 cents a bottle, you guys.
That's like the perfect
Or a
film,
$1
like
bottle.
first film story is like, yep, we went out, we talked to a beer sponsor, they gave us kegs of beer, some cash to spend some money on, and then we got to go out and do what the fuck we wanted. That's a pretty big win.
That's awesome.
For real.
It was like 50 cases of beer.
It was awesome. And you know how the French are always talking about auteur film? The French are so like high and mighty about auteur film. They're like, oh, we like the auteur film. We're not the Americans with the commercial film. I'm sorry, I made a racist accent. I'm sorry. Anyway, I'm an auteur filmmaker. For $4,500 in cash, and I got to make whatever the fuck film I wanted to make. And that's like basically auteur filmmaking, right?
Yeah,
Correct.
absolutely. So how does the budget plus up from that to Dearest Sister? Like, what's the influx of cash come from?
Shit, Dearest Sister was like a $100 million. No, it wasn't. It was like crazy. We went from $5,000 to like $200-something thousand in budget. I've never.
It was 300,000.
300,000 US.
It's the most expensive Lao movie ever.
It's the most expensive Lao movie ever made. I was like freaking out, like holy shit! I'm like Hollywood now, $300,000. I can't believe it. Like, and not to like toot my own horn, but like Dearest Sister is fucking beautiful because of that.
It is.
Because I was able to
It
use
really
not
is.
a DSLR. I was able an actual camera. You know, I used an Ari Amira, which was beautiful, like gorgeous. And to be honest, I kind of fought that because I did an Indiegogo campaign.
Mm-hmm.
And part of the Indiegogo campaign was to buy us a Blackmagic cinema camera so that we can make a low budget film with a Blackmagic cinema camera. And but then while we were doing the Indiegogo campaign, the script got accepted to Cannes, to Le Cinéma du Monde. It was a part of La Fabrique, which was a film lab from Institut Français. And we got co-producers. And the co-producers brought me effects, makeup artists, editors, and a DOP. And the DOP is like, I'm not shooting on a fucking Blackmagic cinema camera. And I was like, no, this is what I got from Indiegogo. The contributors got me a Blackmagic camera. That is what you're shooting on. And he's like, I want to shoot on Ari. I fought him. I seriously fought him. I was like, we can't afford a or we can't afford anything. And eventually, like, the co-producers paid for us to get an Ari camera, and the film is gorgeous because of it. But to be honest, I'm so happy that we have that Blackmagic camera because I filmed my Long Walk teaser using the Blackmagic cinema camera, which is my third film. We use it all the time for other things. And there's all kinds of Lao youth who make short films and borrow our camera. Like, we always say, oh, we're going to rent it out. We're going to rent out. We're going to make a couple bucks and rent it out to, like, new aspiring filmmakers. But instead, we just let them use it, whatever. When they want to use it to make a short film, we just let them take it and use it. As long as they have a camera operator that we, like, trust, who won't break the fucking camera. We're like, yeah, take it, bring it back on this day, whatever. And so, like, there have been, like, 4 or 5 short Lao films that have been made on our camera that we earned through Indiegogo. So it's been amazing, you know?
Well, that's really fucking cool. It sounds like you guys are creating like a real community of people who can interact with each other and rely on each other for resource sharing and things like that. That's really neat that you guys are doing that.
We try to. There's a lot of jealousy here. And maybe this is a skeletons in the closet subject that you guys were talking about.
Yeah.
We try to create a community. One, I'm a private person in general. Like, I'm a hermit. I stay in my house with my dogs. But we try to create a community. We've trained a handful of people to be able to take on many jobs professionally. I have an excellent UPM. She's only 24, and she's an amazing line producer. I have a wardrobe girl that we train through our film projects. I have an art director that I've trained through our film projects. And a guy that can do sound and can do camera operating through our projects. And he's amazing, and he's the one that uses our camera all the time for these projects. But there seems to be a lot of weird rivalry that I have not tried to be a part of. I've tried to be separate from. And I don't know if it's because I'm a woman or if because I came out of nowhere. I think it's not even because I'm a woman. It seems to be more because I came out of nowhere, because a lot of the other filmmakers have had multiple degrees in film. They've had scholarships to go to film school. They've gone to film school in America, in Thailand, in Australia. And so when I come out of nowhere and I have no background and no training, they're kind of like, what the fuck? Like, she doesn't deserve to make film. We deserve to make film. We went to school. And there seems to be this atmosphere, and that kind of sucks. But I don't know. I don't really care. It's kind of like, fuck it. I'm making films. Like, they can dwell on that or they can't. Whatever. It's not stopping me.
Mm-hmm. Between you and them, what do you think is the difference? What's been the thing that's been the most fortunate thing for you that allows you to go out and have the success where maybe they're a little bit more frustrated? Like, what do you think is the dividing line there? What's the separator? I'm just curious if you feel comfortable chatting about it.
Honestly, I think... No, I'm very comfortable chatting with it because, like, fuck it. Like, whatever people think. They have the right to think what they think. They have the right to say what they say. They have a mouth. They can speak, you know? And I do as well. I have a mouth. I can say what I want to say. And what I think is the biggest difference is because I did not go to film school, because I don't have this protocol and this expectation of what making a film or what being a filmmaker needs to be, I don't have the limitations or the boundaries that they have. And that, I think, has been the most useful factor, which I think is the whole point of film school rejects. I think sometimes when you go to film school, you're taught a lot of rules. I don't know, because I didn't go to film school, but I do think that when you go to film school, you're told, this is difficult. Don't do this. Do this. Don't do that. And you've been put into this box that may not necessarily be conducive to your career. And I've never had that. Basically, I went into film not knowing rules, not knowing what is difficult, what is considered against the rules, and to unleash full force. And it's been for me. Whereas some people, I think that they set themselves walls and boundaries, and that holds them back. And I think that that's the biggest difference, you guys.
Yeah, that's kind of been a common theme with some of, especially the smaller production folks that we've chatted with, like Christian Stella, who was the director of photography for...
I think I'm one of the smallest productions you guys have ever chatted with.
At 4,500, I think you're coming in underneath the battery, which was $6,000. So yeah,
there you go.
So that's a solid victory for you guys. I'm pretty sure they'd be jealous about your 500 bottles of beer, though. But no, I think like being adaptive to the needs of the day and not being confined by what your expectations about how the day should go seems to be a very important key to success for especially small budget filmmakers when they show up on the set in the day and things just aren't right, and the ability to sort of kill your darlings aggressively and move away from that idea and engage with the problem as it exists, not as you want it to exist. Would you agree that that's similar experience for you that's helped you be successful?
I so agree with this. Actually, one of the biggest things, now that you point that out, that's a huge thing. I've had the opportunity to work with both local and foreign filmmakers. And one of the things that I find that local filmmakers and foreign filmmakers take away from school is you need to have the big set. You need to have all the guys wearing matching T-shirts and uniforms. You need to have 25 to 100 people working on set. You need to have one guy just to move one light. You need to have like one guy for each job. And it's ridiculous. My first film I made with 5 people, 6 with my dog. My second film, Dearest Sister. No, for real. My second film, Dearest Sister, was literally like 12 people, including myself. And it's like, you don't need that big crew. It's fucking arrogant to think that you can't go and unplug that fucking light yourself. If you need to take that light, go fucking take it. If there's nobody to slate,
insurance companies hate you, right?
Yeah, insurance companies are like, they're going to sue me right now. We don't have insurance now, so maybe it's a different thing. If you need to do the slate in English. You know what I'm talking about? The black and white board thing. If you need to do that and nobody's there to do it for you, fucking go up there and do it yourself. If you don't have somebody to make you coffee and bring it to you, go do it yourself. Like, you don't need 25 people on your crew. That's what's holding you back. Like, if you think that no film can be made without one motherfucker to move one light and one motherfucker to bring you your costume and to dress your actors, then you'll never make a goddamn film. And we do not do this on my set. And on my set, we don't have hierarchy. And this is a big difference from the filmmakers who have gone to film school or those Western filmmakers who have to come here and act all Hollywood douchey. Not that I'm saying all Hollywood people are douchey, but what they imagine, their perception of Hollywood is, you cannot make another film if that's what your perception is. I eat after my crew has eaten, because you want to know something? My crew works harder than me. They have to drag cables, have to drag lights, have to drive vehicles, they have to like prep locations. What the fuck am I doing? I'm doing makeup and talking to actors. I need to make sure that they eat and have energy before me. I come before them onto the set to prep the set. I leave after every last man on set has left, because it's my responsibility to make sure that the film goes off without a hitch. I don't need to go back to my fucking air-conditioned hotel room like I'm some goddamn queen. Do you know what I mean? No, it's true. I'm not better than any man on my set. And we make this film together. We are a team. And if anyone believes that anyone on their set is beneath them, then they're deluded. They don't know what independent film is.
Fuck yeah. I am still stuck on the fact that there were 12 people that made Dearest Sister. Holy shit. That is just blowing my mind right now, because that movie, this movie is legit good and it looks fucking gorgeous. I cannot believe you did that with 12 people.
I'm not talking about the cast though. There's a bunch of people in the cast.
I know that, but that makes it more impressive because you have 12 people who are handling like a lot of those, especially because you had a lot of crowd shots and shit in there too, where you were out walking around the streets.
You guys want to know how many people were on my camera team?
Yes.
1.
Dude.
1. The DOP was by himself. I didn't know until after I finished the film that wasn't normal. He asked for an AC. And I was like, I can't afford an AC, sorry, because I produce and direct. And I was like, sorry, dude, as producer, I can't afford an AC. So can you pull focus yourself? And he's like, what? And I showed him the kind of shots I wanted. I storyboarded everything myself, which, by the way, he was shocked by, because when I met him, Mart Latasep, he's amazing, by the way. He was like, I never met a director that came to me with the whole fucking film storyboarded and like pre-planned ahead. I was like, well, I know what I want. You know, and you were like showing me these shots. It's like, and I want this, and we're going to push in here, and we're going to rack focus here. And he was like, what the fuck? And he's like, okay, I need a focus cooler and AC. I was like, well, I can't afford any of that. Can you do it yourself? And I think he must have been panicking because he was like, I really want to shoot a feature. So he was like, yeah, I can do it, but you need to give me the right equipment. And I was like, okay, we'll talk to VS Service in Bangkok about getting you the right equipment. And he did everything himself. My DOP operated the camera. He pulled focus. He had no AC. He did everything himself. He set the lights. We had a gaffer sometimes, but he had to tell the gaffer what to do. And it was crazy. Like one guy on the entire camera team. I had one art director with one, and she also did costuming and also had one assistant. And that was like it.
Wow.
So do you bring that philosophy into the next film? Are you still working really, really tight?
I need to work tight. I have to work tight. I don't want excess fat on my films. I think that excess fat on my film I don't know. I was about to say it slows the film down, but I do work slowly because I have no extra team. But at the same time, there's sometimes a communication gap if there's too many people. And there's a cost. You guys, we're talking about film school rejects. We're talking about independent film. For every extra person, that's another paycheck that I cannot afford as a producer. And so I'm completely okay with working with a skeleton crew. I will continue to produce, direct, and do makeup. I will continue to do my first rough edit before I go to my main editor. I will continue to have one art director and I will continue to have one UPM that does many jobs.
Well, I think also, like, you need to realize, like, people aren't jumping at the opportunity to dump money into Lao film. Like, there are 4 cinemas in the entire country.
Yeah.
And so, you know, the reality is, like, if you want to keep making movies in Lao, there's not a huge box office potential.
No.
Maybe you can move your film into Thailand, although that's only been done once or twice in the entire history.
Very slim. It's very slim to move your Lao film outside of Laos.
So, like, even a best case scenario, you know, we're looking at, like Dearest Sister was $300,000, and that's the largest Lao film that's ever been made. And to tell you the truth, like, in terms of scale, that was kind of like the Lao Titanic, right? So, like,
near, far,
like,
wherever you are.
But if you're thinking like making $300,000 off of 4 cinemas is
impossible.
Okay? So like, even in our kind of best case scenarios, like looking at $1 million budget or looking at a $1.2 million
it's
budget,
irresponsible. It's really irresponsible. Because then I'm telling Lao, go into debt.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in that. Why would I put my own people into debt to make a fucking film?
Well,
Do you know what I mean? It's not right.
How are you approaching your international market sales for? I mean, I'm not quite sure how it looked for Dearest Sister, but I mean, especially going forward, do you have the ability to target screenings outside of Lao to help recoup some of the investment that you're doing there to allow you to press forward, or is it Lao centric? I want to make money in Lao and I want to be successful in Lao.
I've had international and it's been ultra lucky, you guys. Like, I had no idea what was going to happen with Lao film. I wanted Lao people to like the film. Lao people are new cinema audience. They've only watched soap operas before and like low budget Thai films before.
Well, the only cinemas in this country have only been open for about a year.
Yeah, we've only had a cinema for about 1 year. A legitimate. No, for real. It's like before that we had pirate cinemas, which meant we had a projector, like an office projector that you guys have probably in your own office, and the big screen, and they would just rip movies off of DVDs or off of BitTorrent and project them and take ticket sales. I'm not even joking. But legitimate cinemas we've only had for 1 year. And our audience is slowly growing. Like, only recently has our audience figured out, don't use a phone in the cinema. Come on time. Don't talk during the cinema. Only, like, in the last couple months have they figured this out. Wow. And mature stories are still trying to figure out. Like, they don't always understand. So art house cinema, which is, I kind of fall into the realm of art house cinema, is still far off. But international cinema, I didn't know what it was going to be like, but I've been extremely lucky. For instance, XYZ picked up Dearest Sister for North America, and Raven Banner picked up Dearest Sister for Europe and rest of the world. And they've been able to sell. We sold in England, in America, and Canada. We're negotiating sales in other places like Thailand and etc. and Southeast Asia. And it's completely blown my mind. Like, it's been unexpected. And hopefully, I don't know what it means for Dearest Sister, but hopefully for my future films, that means that we can be able to make our money back and we can be able to make this lucrative, you know. I don't want Lao kids to think that if I go into film, I'm just going to be digging a big, deep hole of debt. You know, I don't want that to happen.
Well, and Shudder's been really good.
We had Dearest Sister released on Shudder in UK, America, and Canada, and they have been so good to us. They've promoted our film. They've really shown that they care about their filmmakers because they have to secure a selection. They're not just like buying films willy-nilly. Shudder seems to be kind of in its own way like a film festival selection.
So I just signed up for Shudder because of Dearest Sister. That's how I had to see it. So now I'm diving into that world.
Thank you so much. But did you see the other films? They have like some fucking awesome films on Shudder.
It's a fantastic
Shudder because I'm in Laos. they don't have Shudder Lao. And I was looking at the list and I was like, fuck, I wish I could have Shudder. Because the cost per month is so low, and you can have access to not just like new interesting genre films, but like fucking classics too. And my mother-in-law signed up for Shudder for Dear Sister, and she found all these old, like, what was it, like the Tingler?
Yeah, like some old Bela Lugosi.
Like old Bela Lugosi films that she grew up on. She's like, oh, the Shudder thing has like films I watched when I was a young girl. And I was like, oh my god, like Shudder even caters to my fucking mother-in-law. She's like a librarian for an elementary school, you guys, and she can find something that she loves. But I don't know, like, I think for the future of Lao, I would like to say Skeleton Crew. To be honest, I want to make films in more places than Lao. I want to make films in America and in Europe. I have an awesome Italian cannibal film in my mind. I have awesome American film in my mind. But to be honest, I want to stay with my roots and try to be as minimal as possible. Not to save costs, but because I believe that for filmmaking, we don't need to be bloated. We don't need to be ostentatious. We don't need to be tentpole films to be able to make something of high value and good content.
Yeah. So one of the, that's kind of interesting to me because I watched Dearest Sister and I see that there, how do I approach this one? I see that there's a lot of commentary on the effect of the influx of cash into a world, into a community, especially the relationship with the UNDP folks that you kind of point to, and the way that people sort of glom on to a sudden influx of money, that it's destructive. It genuinely is destructive. It can be a negative influence. Like, how have you, is that in your mind? Like, is that a personal philosophy that you are paying attention to as you're thinking about what your definition of success is going forward?
Yes and no. Yes and no, because initially I don't think about that when I first make a film, because my husband, who you guys have been hearing from today, he's the one who writes my films. And that is not an idea that, like, I'm not saying I want to talk about capitalism right away, right off the bat. To be honest, Dearest Sister is based on another ballet called La Bayadere from Petipa, which is about 3 characters: Gamzati, a princess; Nakia, a poor temple dancer; and Solar, the prince. And it's very loosely inspired by it. And what I wanted to take from it was Nakia gets slighted and she kills everyone. She takes revenge and destroys everyone, which is very uncommon in ballet. In ballet, the girl gets her heart broken and she just accepts it and dies. And I always thought that ballet heroines were pussies because of that. But Nakia was so hardcore. She gets her heart broken and she comes back. And during Salar and Gamzati's wedding, she fucking kills everyone. She destroys a temple during the wedding. The monks, the priest, Salar, and Gamzati, they all fucking die. And that was my first inspiration. But the societal class thing came in because it's a real element of Lao. Lao is a new society. After the war, we had to rebuild our society. We had a new party. We had a new government. And we were supposed to all be equals. But capitalism came in, and it came in full force recently. We're still experiencing this. I don't know what happens to Lao now. I have no idea what is going to happen. But what I'm seeing right now is that materialism can become ugly. You know, it can become ugly. And I guess what I'm just showing is an exaggerated viewpoint of it. But it's quite common in America, in Canada, in England, where you see the blue blood societies and you see the oppressed lower class societies not having a voice for themselves. And it was very natural for me to go with that. But I don't think it was completely intentional in the beginning. It just kind of came up as I was making the film, as I was creating the story with my husband.
Yeah, I mean, we tend to start with like character and plot, and once we feel like the character and plot are working, like there's something cultural that works in nicely.
The details come in afterwards.
Yeah,
but for me, it's very important to bring in what's happening currently, like authentic parts of our culture, and to insert them now. It's historic. I'm doing something that hasn't existed before in a country that's currently growing and ambiguous. We don't know what's going to happen here. And so I need to put in pieces of reality and truth now so people in the future can come back and look at it and say, oh, this was a piece of history from the 2000s that people have to deal with, you know?
Yeah, I mean, another kind of interesting thing is like a lot of that stuff was not in the first draft of the script.
Not at all.
We were really like in the first draft of the script, we were like, well, let's get the characters right. Let's get the story right. Let's look at the ballet because Mattie really wanted to pull this ballet and see kind of what comes out of it. And it was something that we kind of identified not late in the process, but, in the second or third draft of the script where we were like, oh, there's some interesting kind of social thing here. Like, how can we
incorporate it?
How can we incorporate that? But, I mean, it was all kind of driven by, does this work for the characters first, Right. And if it hadn't come from the characters, I don't know that we would have, like, we didn't sit down and say, hey, let's do something about social hierarchies or things like that. It was more kind of like, oh, we've got these characters that come from these different social strata.
And
how can we emphasize that a little bit?
And what's really important is, I don't know if other directors work like this, but I work very closely with my actors to ask them what is truthful to what is currently happening, I want to know from their experiences. I want them to insert their real life experiences into it. And there's a lot in the actual film that wasn't actually written into the script because between myself and the actors, we insert it. We say, oh, but in this situation, it would be like this. Or, oh, what I've encountered has been like this. And that's been really important to me is to let the actors bring to me their experience and for me to direct it into the film as well.
When in the process... I'm sorry, when in the process does that happen for you? Is that on the day, or are you setting aside time for rehearsals so you can sort of engage with your actors before production?
Both. It happens continuously. During rehearsals, it happens. On the day, sometimes the actors will just get inspired and say something. I encourage them to say something. Like, if it comes to them, I don't cut. If they say something that spontaneously happens on set, I'll keep it.
Well, and I can tell you, I did 6 rewrites of the script while we were shooting. Just because cool stuff would come up, and we'd be like, how do we incorporate this, And so, I mean, like, I'm not going to lie. Like, I'm a kid from Salt Lake City. I don't know Asian culture inside and out. And so... we do try to get as much in as we can, but like when interesting stuff comes up, we're like... We
keep it.
Yeah, or we figure out how to make it work.
Yeah. And on set, sometimes things happen out of just emotional impetus. Sometimes they'll just be like, that just came out. I'm sorry. And it's like, don't apologize. Go with it. And then we'll continue with it. And I think that's the ballet aspect of myself, where I'll just say sometimes things happen. We have a choreography, but if you have a way that you express it, please keep it because it's your personal way that you can express it. I'm not a kind of director that wants to do line readings. I'm not the kind of director that says, you must follow the script. I think that the actors bring their own characters. They bring their own way of enriching the script. And sometimes I have my mind. The writer, of course, has his own idea, but I, as a director, have my own mind set on what I think each character is. But the actors really imbue their view of the characters, and between me and the actors, we're able to come up with something completely new. And I think that's super important for directors, especially new directors, to realize that sometimes you have to be a little bit flexible about the way you approach something. It's not always the way you envision it, and it can take you beyond the level that you imagined it.
Yeah, I think one thing that I've always kind of thought, and I've tried to, like with Mattie and stuff, we've really tried to promote this idea that nobody that works on a movie wants to make a bad movie, right? And so,
No, I totally want to make a shitty movie, you guys. Oh my god, I so totally want to do one.
But you tend to kind of develop blind spots, I think, while you're developing, and those blind spots kind of come from like either like what your role is on the film or from your cultural background or from from whatever. But like you realize you get 20 people together to make a movie, and nobody wants to make a bad movie. Like everybody wants to make something cool that they can show to their girlfriend and play. Right? So like,
but we're married.
Well, I'd like to get laid too. But the reality is like, everybody wants to do something cool, right? And because of that, like, there's no, obviously you need to have a director that can sift through all this information, make decisions about what's right for the film. But that doesn't mean that like the DOP isn't going to come up with like an incredible idea.
Oh, my DOP sometimes will just come up with something where it's like, what if we took it from this angle and she did it like this? And I'm just like, yeah, okay. I'm completely open to my crew speaking to me. I'm not even talking about DOP or anything. I'm completely open to my crew speaking to me. As long as it's a conducive conversation. I am not okay with people telling me what I need to be doing, what I should be doing.
Yeah, and I think like, like we have really tried. Mattie's really good about kind of keeping this atmosphere on set where it's like,
well, we're all equal on set.
Right. Well, you're in charge, you're the director, right? So but like there's this really nice atmosphere on set where like good ideas are valued. And if you have a good idea and you can make a case for it and it doesn't slow us down for like an entire day, right? If it incorporates in with what we've already shot and all that kind of stuff, like there's a certain flexibility. And like when I'm writing the scripts, I don't anticipate that the script is the movie, right? I anticipate that the script is the plan for the movie. Yeah. So.
Well, that's the thing is good ideas are conducive. Everybody wants to make a good movie. So if my DOP or if my fucking assistant has a good idea, I will listen to it. What I don't like is when people are trying to talk over me. When people are trying to tell me I don't know what the fuck I'm doing because I didn't go to film school. That is what I don't like. But normally I don't really experience a lot of that because I keep my film crew so skeletal and so small and tight anyway. I don't see a lot of that. But I have experienced a couple times where people are like, oh, Mattie doesn't know what she's talking about. They'll like try to delegate to someone higher than me, and people learn really quick. I don't fucking tolerate that on my film set.
Reasonable. Appropriate. Correct. Yep, that's a good move.
Yeah, I know what I fucking want. And that's another thing is, I kind of have a reputation for being, like, on set, they call me the 3-take girl. Because it's like, take one. Take one. Okay. Yeah, okay. Take 2. What do you want to do, actor? Okay, actor did what he wanted to do. Take 3. What Mattie wanted. That's fine. That's all. It's all right. That's all I need for the edit. Take 4 is just a DOP trying to feel secure in himself. Like, do you want to take another take? No. I think we should take another take. All right, whatever. I'm not going to use it. And we take another take for the DOP because but he feels insecure, and so we take another take. But the takes that I use are always within those first 3. Like, seriously, I'm a 3-take girl.
You are pretty good.
I'm pretty good. Like, I'm not one of those like, oh, can we try it again? Oh, let's do it again. No, within 3 or 4 takes, I know what I fucking want.
Nice. Well, I kind of want to subject jump just slightly. So from our conversation earlier, it sounded like you did get a chance to go out to Fantastic Fest when Dearest Sister screened there. Did you go when Chanthaly screened?
I did! It was the first film festival I ever went to in my life. It was like the best. Oh my god. I went to the festival and I was like, oh my god. This is a fucking film festival. Oh my god. You guys, I didn't know what a fucking film festival was before that. Before that, I thought film festivals were like you sat in a cafeteria and got like popcorn from the like Pop Secret bag in the microwave, and you watched like Babe on a TV. I had no idea, and it was the first film festival I've ever went to in my life. I was blown away. In a way, I was completely out of my league. It was my first film. I went there, and there were people like Nacho Duato, and there was like Elijah Wood. Or Nacho, no, I'm sorry, not Nacho Duato. Nacho Vigilando. Nacho Duato is a ballet choreographer. I'm sorry. I got my two vocations mixed up. Nacho Vigilando, who did Colossal recently. Nacho Vigilando and like Elijah Wood. And there was like Keanu Reeves. I met Keanu Reeves my first time there. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? We were waiting in line to go to the bathroom, and he was so nice, Keanu. I didn't know. And then I saw him in a ring introducing this guy to get punched by Tim League, Tiger or something. And, I was like, this is the coolest experience in my life. And then shortly after my first film festival at Fantastic Fest for Chanthaly, I went to TIFF and Cannes. Nice. And it was just like, what is going on? Like, what the fuck is going on here? And then Fantastic Fest invited me back to be a jury member for their short films project. And it was just like, this was the best experience in my life. So when I got accepted to go back to Fantastic Fest for Dearest Sister, I seriously thought like all my dreams came true. Like, I have reached peak filmmaking. Like, Dearest Sister got accepted to Fantastic Fest. And seriously, I'm not a good filmmaker for you guys to talk to at Film School Rejects because I don't know anything about these film festivals and stuff. And it's just, I was so excited to go. I have no idea what they're supposed to be like. I've been to Cannes, I've been to TIFF, I've been to Fantastic Fest, to BFAN, and they're all so different. But Fantastic Fest really takes my heart. It just took my heart because it was by the beach. And like, who doesn't love a film festival with tapas and sangria?
Well,
for a girl like me, I'm from a small town in California. Like, I was born in Orange County, which is huge, but I went to school. I grew up in Merced, California, which is a tiny little farm town in California. It's just like, I can't imagine this kind of glamour to have like these open bars with unlimited champagne and rosé, you know? It's just insane. And I still get embarrassed when people ask me, what do you do? So what do you do? And I feel really douchey saying, well, you know, I'm a filmmaker. Like, I'm a filmmaker. I'm just like, I work in moving images and shit. It's like, I'm a dog racer. It's very odd for me. It's very odd for me. But I love film festivals. And I believe Fantastic Fest made me. Like, my entire career was made from Fantastic Fest, giving me a chance on Chanthaly. Because Chanthaly was a fucking DIY $4,000 film. And they acknowledged my work. They showed my work. And people discovered it. And from that, other people started playing it. And Chanthaly played at, like, so many film festivals all over the world because Fantastic Fest gave me the chance.
That's cool. I think that's really cool. Darren, Brad, I mean, we've been chatting for about an hour. What do you guys got?
Well, I'm curious.
Holy shit, it's been an hour?
It has been.
You guys.
And we'll let you go to sleep eventually. But, you know, going forward, you know, what do you want to see from your own work? Where, you know, how are you evolving?
I need to get better. Again, this is a ballet dancer and me talking. A ballet dancer always sees her mistakes. We are our own worst critics. Every time I watch one of my own films, I see my mistakes. I see what I want to do better. I see what I want to improve. And every film that I want to do so many films, you guys. One, I feel stagnant already. Dearest Sister has already played at many festivals. I finished it in summer. I can't understand why I'm not making another film right now. I feel like I need to be making another film now, and I'm working on The Long Walk, which is my third film, and I need to be so much better than I am now. I found that I can make better shots. Besides shots, I can have more of an epic story. I can have, I can encompass so much more into my work. I can do so much more. And each work that I do should improve. It's like, why bother making film if I can't improve? Every film should be a step up. And that's what I want to do. And I want to make many films that continue to improve. I have The Long Walk. I have The Diplomat's Maid, my fourth film that I want to make. The fourth film, The Diplomat's Maid, is part of a trilogy, a women's trilogy that I have in mind. Chanthaly being the first, Dearest Sister being the second, and The Diplomat's Maid being the third.
Oh, shit.
I have my Italian cannibal film. I have a ballet film that I still need to make. I want to make a ballet film in the States. It's like I have so many things that I need to do. It's just I'm not getting any younger. And I just need to be able to find the people who will want to work with me and support me in what I do. And I need to create an industry that can continue outside of myself. Like I said, I'm not getting any younger, so when I become too old to do this, I need for Lao to be able to continue doing this without me. Mm-hmm. I need to train directors, gaffers, grips, costume and art directors to be able to continue to make Lao films when I'm gone. I feel like my work is just barely beginning.
Jesus Christ, how do you not crumble on the pressure of that? That sounds intense.
I don't know better, you guys. I don't know better. I have a lot of Italian prosecco to take me through it.
Well, we're tremendous fans of Dearest Sister, and you've got a fan base here in the States that'll follow you pretty much to anything you do next, and we're excited to see what that
God,
is.
My third film is super fucking weird. Are you guys going to follow me for that?
You're damn right. We love weird. Let's get nuts.
My third film's a time travel serial killer film in rural Laos, and you guys are going to go for it?
I just watched Time After Time the other day. That's a time travel serial killer film. We need more of those.
Yeah, I love you guys. I love you guys.
All right. So I think we're kind of heading towards the end of the conversation here. And one of the things that I like to ask all of the folks who come along is, what's your proudest moment? Your thing that you look back on right now from the start of picking up a camera in your filmmaking career that you look at and you say that moment, that's the thing that makes this fucking worthwhile. What is that for you?
Gosh, I don't know. I feel like, to be honest, I haven't really reached that point. I need for my father to acknowledge me. Do you guys see those internet memes? Those internet memes that are like, film director, what I think I am. And it shows like this douchey filmmaker guy. And then like, what my friends think I am. And it shows this guy that's like borrowing money from his friends, and like what my coworkers think I am, and what my father thinks I am. My father has no idea what I'm doing. Like my father is constantly like, "What the fuck are you doing with your life?"
I thought you were talking about the Asian father is disappointed.
Oh no, that's also a real meme. Asian father is disappointed, and that is my dad. Like my dad who said to me. Oh, okay, you guys, when I first met my husband, before we were married, I introduced my husband to my father, like introduce a boyfriend to the dad. It's a big moment, right? Like meet the fuckers. And he's like, you're Christopher. No, really? You're Christopher Larson? And he's like, yes, sir, I am. And you are going to marry my daughter? He's like, yes, sir, I'd like to marry your daughter. And he's like, and then he very seriously approached my husband. He said, what do you think of Transformers? And my husband was just like, it was. No, you did not say that. What did you say?
I did not say that. I was like, it's good.
It's a very entertaining film, is what he said. It was a very entertaining film. And my dad said to him, like, my dad sized him up. This guy is like 4'10", okay? Like, he's tiny. 4'10", but with a six-pack. He's got a fucking six-pack. He's like Bruce Lee Jr.
That's true. I got all the So
this little Asian 4'10" man with a six-pack So I just up my husband and says, Transformers is the best movie ever made. and Chris is like, yes, sir, it is. Yes, sir, it is the best movie ever made.
Please let me marry your daughter.
Please, can I marry your daughter?
I love your dad.
And the first time I made Chanthaly, I said, Dad, I'm making a movie. And he was like, oh. And he came to visit the set, and he saw my shitty little Canon camera. And he came to visit the set, and he was like, what the fuck is this home video shit? And he just had no respect for me. And when I was making Dearest Sister, and I had the fucking Ari. I had the Ari with like Zeiss super speed lenses from VS Service in Bangkok. I was like, Dad, come visit our set. And he was out of town. Oh. He was out of town during the entire production. He didn't see like my foreign crew with Ari Amira with Zeiss super speed lenses.
When they were making it.
And he just has no idea what I'm doing. He hasn't seen Dearest Sister yet, by the way. But one day, my proudest moment will be when Dad realizes that I made a fucking movie.
You need to bring your dad to Fantastic Fest.
Oh my God, Dad would just be like, what's up with all these drunk people?
Luckily, your in-laws subscribe to Shudder, and they understand it.
Yeah, my
parents love me.
Yeah, my in-laws fucking love me. They're like, oh my God, our son married a filmmaker. But there's something to be said about having my own dad acknowledge my success.
Yeah, that sounds like maybe that'd be a thing.
Yeah, I haven't reached that moment yet.
Okay. All right.
I'm still a failure. I'm still a failure.
I don't know that I can agree with that. I saw Dearest Sister. That movie fucking rocked. I don't think that's a correct assessment at all.
Oh, you guys are the best.
Well, I think that we'll wrap up the conversation. Thank you so much for talking with us. I think you're fucking great. Whatever you do next, whether it's a time travel serial killer in fucking rural Laos, or the Diplomat's Maid, or a ballet movie. The ballet movie, actually, I would like to see also. Anything that you do next, we're going to be on to support. You're fucking cool.
I hope you guys stay watching my film.
We will.
Totally.
I'm so excited that there's like more than just my mother-in-law watching my films, you guys. I'm like so excited about that.
All right. Well, thank you very much, and we'll wrap up the conversation. Thank you. Thank you for coming out.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. I'm so glad you guys called me.
Anytime.
Bye.
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 So there you have it, everyone. Our CHATcast with Mattie Do. What did I tell you? Fucking crazy.
Holy shit,
Yeah.
dude. She's awesome.
She's awesome. Always a pleasure to have these filmmakers come to the podcast and be generous with their time. Because as you hear in the interviews, I mean, they are trying their best to stay in the creative process, working on things. And she's got a lot of stuff going on. She has a bunch of ideas. You heard her herself. She feels stagnant, which she does not want to be. So she's working on her next project or projects.
Dude, that fucking Lao time travel serial killer in fucking rural Lao. I want that now.
I'm down. I'm excited for that. But yeah, it's just a very interesting story. How she walked into directing, like they're walking into that office and her husband being handed an office and she being handed a directing gig
and 500 bottles of beer.
Yeah. Yes. But then taking that and doing something wonderful with it. So there's a lot to be said about that. And the importance of her being the person to do that where she is and in the political climate at this time is incredible. And I don't know that how profound that is and the importance of that. I don't even think that's yet to be fully realized. Like it's really going to be something that
she's creating a community there.
Yeah.
An industry.
And I think that's something that in the future, hopefully not in the far future, but it won't be until the future that the world looks back, especially her country looks back to seize what the significance of her doing what she's doing now is having on the people and the world in general. So that's a really tremendous story that she has.
And if you've listened through this entire interview and you have not seen Dearest Sister yet, please stop. Go check that film out. It is something really special.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah.
I genuinely recommend that movie, and you should fucking sign up to Shudder and go watch it.
7-day free trial, guys.
Come on, guys.
Yep. So, Billy, tell the people where they can find you.
You can find me on Film School Rejects, writing the articles up for these, and you can also find me on the Twitters at WBDAS.
Brad Gullickson, Mouth Dork.
Find me on all social media at Mouth Dork. And read my stuff on Film School Rejects too.
You should read Brad's stuff on Film School Rejects.
It's not bad.
Yep.
It's better than not bad.
It's not bad.
It's all right, though.
And you can follow the Turtle Dork at the Turtle Dork on Twitter and at the Turtle Dork 1 on Instagram. He is the Turtle Dork on Letterboxd and Brian William Young on Facebook. And hey, Wife Dork over there judging us ever so intently. You can follow her at Sidewalk Siren on Twitter, Instagram, and Letterboxd. I'm Darren Smith, the Disco Dork on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at the Disco Dork. That's going to do it for us. Stay tuned. Billy, when is this dropping? When can they expect to?
It'll be.
Well, it should have already posted.
It is now.
The next.
They're listening to it now.
Yes, I'm sorry. The next interview. What do we got coming up?
We're still locking up the next interview. We have 4 or 5 people, I think, that we're trying to make things happen. Actually, there's a lot of really cool things coming up in March and April that you guys should be on the lookout for. I don't want to say them because I don't want to jinx them.
Gotcha.
But there's some cool shit coming your way.
All right. So stay tuned. Thank you all for joining us. We hope you enjoyed this chatcast, and we look forward to bringing you some more content and interviews with these small budget filmmakers. Again, shout out to Film School Rejects for this Shallow Pockets project. Is that what they call it?
Yeah, I think so.
All right, and
I think that's going to stick.
Yes.
We'll see.
I like it. Again, and thank you, Billy. So that's going to do it for us. Thank you all for listening, and until next time.
Steven Spielberg. That's who we're talking to next, right?
Whoa. Whoa. Whoa.